Hello again. I'm sure that we all remember the strong language that the Commissioner of Police for the Metropolis, Mark Rowley, used when talking about police officers injured during the recent disturbances in various English towns. He described those responsible as violent thugs and urged immediate prison sentences for them. I wonder what he would say about an event in London during the course of which no fewer than 97 police officers were injured, including 6 who were bitten so badly that they needed hospital treatment. I expect he'd be pretty cross and describe those people as thugs, wouldn't he? Actually, after last year's Notting Hill Carnival, when all those police officers were assaulted and injured, Mark Rowley actually said most people had a fantastic time at Notting Hill Carnival. I give a link to this marvellous quotation in a link in the description to this video. How many people were stabbed during the recent riots in England, do you suppose? None at all. At last year's Notting Hill Carnival, though, 10 people were stabbed. Nobody, least of all the police, wanted to make too much fuss about this, though. The magic catchphrase was wheeled out that the event was largely peaceful. Largely peaceful, apart from the 10 stabbings, that is. The BBC too seemed to think that almost 100 police officers being injured was nothing too serious. In the description to this video, I give a link to the BBC account of the carnival last summer, which is headed Huge Crowds Bring Good Vibes to Notting Hill Carnival Celebrations. Lots about safe spaces for women and a jolly atmosphere, but nothing about all those stabbings. No mention either of the injuries and assaults on almost 100 police officers, including the 6 who were bitten and 2 female police officers who were sexually assaulted. In the thumbnail to this video, you can see a photograph of a fight between young men armed with machetes. Again, rather more violent than what we saw during the recent disturbances. The injuries during the recent rioting did not include knife wounds and bites. Mostly they amounted to scratches and bruises. In other words, more people were seriously injured last summer at the Notting Hill Carnival than during those riots. Nobody said anything about thugs, though, last summer. That is, by the way, a word used only in connection with white people. You will never hear the police, the BBC, or anybody else ever describing members of visible minorities as thugs. Why is that, do you suppose? Many of us are watching with interest to see how the police handle any disorder at this year's Notting Hill Carnival, due to be held in a week or so's time. Will there be instant court appearances and people sent to prison for years? People who are arrested after the carnival? Or is that reserved for those who are supposed by the police to belong to the far right? By the by, I give links to a couple of freedom of information requests made to the Metropolitan Police, which detail the injuries and assaults carried out on officers. One interesting little snippet is that policing the carnival last year cost no less than £11.75 million. It's only taxpayers' money, of course, but that's still quite a chunk of money, isn't it?